This is Democracy Watch. So, Mark, obviously a big night of election results. The biggest race of the night was arguably Virginia, not only not turning into a Republican trifecta for Glenn Youngkin, but Democrats flipping the House of Delegates, giving Democrats control of the entire state legislature. So, what does this mean for Glenn Youngkin himself, and what does it mean for his brand of Republicanism?
Glenn Youngkin has been a MAGA Republican from day one. He pretended to be something else by putting on one of those vests. But what his future is a one-term and done governor in the state of Virginia, and that'll be the end of what we hear about Glenn Youngkin and the nonsense about him being some different kind of Republican.
Well, do you think that Virginians were able to, I guess, to your exact point, see through the moderate, nice guy in a sweater vest facade that the entire media was happy to fall for, hook, line, and sinker?
Let me just say something. There is nothing that the mainstream media loves more than a pretend moderate Republican. It's like they're like the bird watchers looking for that species that like they've heard about but they've never seen before. Like
Yeah.
they just don't exist. Like Glenn Youngkin was never a moderate Republican. He was never anything other than an anti-choice, anti-education bigot MAGA Republican. And so that's what he'll go down in history as. He was, he has been a terrible governor for the Commonwealth of Virginia. I live in the Commonwealth of Virginia, but we need to get out of our mindset as we head towards 2024. We need to get out of our mindset that somehow we are going to be rescued by this, as I said, this bird we have never seen before.
And to that point of, the mainstream media kind of falling over itself, I would use this opportunity to promote independent media. Of that includes Democracy Docket, which is the free news outlet Mark founded to focus on everything voting and elections. The link is right here on the screen. It's a great outlet to sign up for. Mark, so Democrats also won a huge state Supreme Court race in Pennsylvania. What cases do you expect to come before that court in 2024? And what will a 5-2 Democratic majority for the Democrats mean?
Oh my God, this is probably the most underreported story of the night. We spent a lot of time talking about the election in Wisconsin and Justice Protasewicz, but that Pennsylvania Supreme Court heard more cases that were election sensitive in 2020 than any other state Supreme Court. And we talk about it being a 5-2 court now. But it did not have as progressive a Democratic majority in 2020 as it will now have. So as we continue to see Republicans bringing challenges to Act 77, which is the voting laws there, when we see the litigation over every manner of ways that Republicans come up to disqualify ballots or to try to subvert the outcome of election results. Remember, my team had to bring litigation against counties in 2022 in Pennsylvania for failure to certify election results. And having a solidly Democratic, a solidly pro voter and pro voting rights election court will be a huge, state Supreme Court will be a huge benefit to the people of Pennsylvania and also to the whole country.
Yeah, it's a great point. Two other major wins were in Ohio on their ballot initiatives. Voters enshrined abortion rights in the state constitution, and they legalized recreational marijuana. Did Republicans pull any moves to try and prevent these measures from passing? And building on that, what does it say about Republicans in Ohio that despite all of these efforts, voters actually did pass these measures?
Look, we saw them pull out every dirty trick in the book to try to keep that pro-choice ballot initiative from being on the ballot. And you and I have talked about this. They scheduled an August election to try to kill this. They tried to meddle with the ballot language to mislead voters to try to kill this. They tried to increase the threshold for what it would take to pass it to try to kill this. They tried everything in addition to lying about what was in the text to try to kill this. And it just goes to show that when given the opportunity for people to vote on pro-democracy, Democratic Party policies versus Republican endorsed policies, the American public chooses the Democratic Party's policy agenda. And Brian, just the morning after the big loss that Republicans suffered in Ohio, you saw none other than Rick Santorum on TV just saying it out loud. just saying it out loud that, we shouldn't have direct democracy around these issues because Republican positions will always get defeated. And they're not getting just defeated in states, in blue states, but in red states. And so Republicans can't win when people have their voice at the ballot box, which is why we keep fighting for it.
Okay, and to your point, here's a quick clip of what Rick Santorum just said.
And you put very sexy things like abortion and marijuana on the ballot, and a lot of young people come out and vote. It was a secret sauce for disaster in Ohio. I don't know what they were thinking, but that's why I thank goodness that most of the states in this country don't allow you to put everything on the ballot, because pure democracies are not the way to run a country.
So then you're
not great. Not great when they say the quiet part out loud. Mark, on marijuana legalization, one of those other issues that was on the ballot in Ohio, given that it's such a potent issue, no pun intended, do you think that this was a missed opportunity to save this ballot issue for 2024 so that it could offer a turnout boost for Sherrod Brown?
Look, I think that people who want to improve individual liberty, protect fundamental rights, protect democracy, they need to move with dispatch, and I'm sure that that's what they did. I am sure that Senator Brown will continue to remind the voters of Ohio where the Republican Party stood on the pro-marijuana legalization issue, where they stood on women's reproductive rights, and where they will continue to stand. Just because these ballot issues passed doesn't mean that the Republican Party woke up this morning with mea culpa. They're doubling down. And so I'm sure that, having these ballot issues on the ballot in 2024, where possible, will be a boost for President Biden, for Sherrod Brown, for all Democrats across the country. And I'm sure we'll see initiatives continue to be turnout boosts. But let's celebrate today the victories that we had.
Are there other ballot measures in Ohio, or that you're keeping an eye on across the country, that may help turn out Democratic voters?
I think you're going to see, I think you're going to see ballot measures in places like Florida and Arizona, among other places where you're going to see reproductive rights. Everywhere that can be put on the ballot, I think you're going to see put on the ballot. Wherever you can see pro-legalization put on the ballot, I suspect you'll see that put on the ballot, because those are majoritarian issues. And this is what you and I talk about all the time, that the Republican Party has become an anti-majoritarian party. Now, oftentimes we say they become anti-majoritarian in that their candidates don't enjoy popular support. But part of the reason why their candidates don't enjoy popular support is because the issues that their candidates run on and run against don't enjoy popular support in Democratic states, in Republican states, and in purple states.
Yeah, perfectly put. Were you disappointed that Democrats didn't flip the governor's seat in Mississippi? Or does the fact that I'm even asking you if you're upset that the Democrats didn't flip the governor's seat in Mississippi kind of signal the fact that Democrats just clearly had a huge night regardless?
I mean, any day we are ignoring the fact that Democrats trounced Republicans in the governor mansion in Kentucky is a good night for Democrats, right? I mean, Andy Beshear, walked all over the Republican candidate. They're running on good Democratic issues, by the way, not running away from them, running on them. So the fact that we're talking about Mississippi, would I love to have seen, Presley win that governor's race in Mississippi? Absolutely. Was there a lot of voter suppression in Mississippi? Absolutely. Is there a lot more work for Democrats to do in the future in Mississippi? Absolutely. We should not give up on it. We should keep fighting in Mississippi and in Alabama and Louisiana and throughout the Deep South. But let's be clear, Andy Beshear's win was really something.
Yeah. What does yet another spate of Democratic wins in another election cycle say about the breathless media coverage that Democrats are constantly in trouble? I mean, leading up to this election, that is all we heard on every single news outlet, from every single poll. It was just Dems in disarray. It was 5-alarm fire for the Democrats, and yet we have another election cycle since 2018 that Democrats have overperformed.
I was being told by a reporter yesterday afternoon that Democrats could lose control of the New Jersey legislature. That's how bad the night was going to be. We could lose control of the New Jersey legislature. By the way, Democrats gained seats in the New Jersey legislature last night. This was a rout from start to finish. Democrats won everywhere. And the fact that the media keeps predicting over and over again, whether it was the big red wave. Remember the big red wave we were going to have in 2022? That didn't materialize.
Still waiting for it.
There's no wave. There wasn't even a puddle. The fact is that they have been wrong over and over and over again. And I think it should cause us to ask two questions. The first is whether any of this polling is in fact accurate, right? There's lots of reasons to believe that the state of polling in this country, it does not serve us well as we start to think about what's going to happen in elections. But the second is, why is there this media bias towards the Glenn Youngkins? Why is there this belief that there is this moderate Republican position or candidate out there, when in fact the American people see through it? The Ohio voters saw through it. The Virginia voters saw through it. The Kentucky voters saw through it. And they didn't see through it because the issues were being hidden. They saw through it because the issues were front and center. This is a center-left country. It is a center-left electorate. And the media needs to report that not as a both sides issue, but as a fact.
Perfectly put. And to that point, again, I would highly recommend that anybody watching sign up for Democracy Docket. If you're focused on the issues and on an accurate representation of the issues, Democracy Docket is the perfect outlet to look towards. So again, that link is right here on the screen. It's also in the post description of this video. I'm Brian Teller Cohen.
I'm Marc Elias.
This is Democracy Watch.